Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, advocates are calling for more effective approaches to tackle crime as the hefty cost of Tasmania's prison system is laid bare. A new report reveals taxpayers fork out more than $120,000 a year for each inmate, fuelling new calls to divert funds away from a northern prison.
Tasmania's controversial prison system back in the spotlight.
Jailing is failing.
A new report released by the Justice Reform Initiative exposing how years of prioritising incarceration has created a revolving door prison system.
58% of young people reoffend within 12 months of leaving prison.
The number of inmates has skyrocketed by 40% over the past decade. Just as alarming, the cost to the government coffers, with the state paying more than $120,000 a year for each prisoner, a total of $94 million annually.
We have so much more we could do with that money to make such a better place here in Tasmania.
Advocates are adamant funding needs to be better spent in prevention and early intervention. A new model, they say, begins with scrapping plans for a $270 million northern prison.
We need to look at what is going wrong in the system. We know jailing is failing.
But the Premier won't be swayed, pushing ahead to build the facility in Westbury.
A northern prison will ensure that we can provide a better rehabilitation program for people out of the north.
Despite ongoing opposition from frustrated locals.
And I can't see how, in the light of those statistics, we're still talking about even having a new prison.
Labor does support a second prison to tackle crime, though not at the government's preferred location.
The recidivism rate in Tasmania is far too high. There are so many people who go to prison who end up back in prison.
As for the future of the contentious Ashley Youth Detention Centre, surprisingly, the Alliance doesn't have a position. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
Salmon giant Tassal has confirmed one of its fish farm barges tipped in an accident earlier this month. Community groups from Bruny Island say they're fearful of pollution in the area after the incident.
We just want the company and the EPA to come clean with what happened on April 1 this year. What was the impact? What's on the seafloor? What damage has been done and what are they doing to clean it up?
In a statement, Tassal said it responded rapidly and prevented potential impacts on the environment. Ever generous and fondly mischievous is how 68-year-old Lee Mundy is being remembered by his family. The Hobart man and his co-driver Dennis Neagle died in a crash during the Targa Tasmania rally on Saturday. One day earlier, Shane Navin lost his life during the Mount Arrowsmith stage. In a statement, Lee Mundy's 3 children say their dad loved Targa and was thrilled to be competing again, but they're now having an impossible time understanding life without him and his brilliant smile. An independent investigation has been launched into the incidents. 2 men, both accused of murder, have faced the Supreme Court in Launceston. German national Tobias Pick, accused of murdering Xingai Zhang in a Wellington Street property in December, appeared via video link. He has previously pleaded not guilty and will face court again in June. Meanwhile, in an unrelated matter, Robert Harold Gerard, who has previously pleaded not guilty to the murder of a former government driver at Reedy Marsh earlier this year, has also had his matter adjourned until June. Both men have been remanded in custody. Health, housing, traffic and schools have marked another desperate day on the campaign trail ahead of Saturday's election. Peter Gutwein and the business lobby are warning a minority government will send the state into an economic nosedive.
With just 5 days left on the campaign clock, Peter Gutwein was hammering home his message.
Right now, Tasmania is at risk of minority government. This election will be closer than what people think.
Announcing $20 million for the small business sector as its leaders sang from the same songbook.
So we're calling on Tasmanians to think clearly when they vote on Saturday and vote for a majority government. We don't mind whether it's Labor or Liberal. What we do mind, though, is that we have a clear majority.
Not if Sue Hickey has her way.
The majority government has not delivered good things for Tasmania in a 7-year period. Why would we give them another 4 years?
Like the Liberals, Labor says it will only govern in majority. Today it turned its attention back to health, promising to extend 10 GP clinics.
We can take the pressure off our hospitals by providing access to bulk billing GP services.
What we are doing is we are funding GP practices to provide care longer, so to keep their doors actually open longer.
In Launceston, 79-year-old Michael Murrell took his protest to the doors of the Health Minister's office. He's been told he'll have to wait 600 days for hip replacement surgery.
That's absolutely impossible. I'm here not only for myself, but for the other 12,000 people who are waiting on the elective surgery list.
And in a dramatic move, 16 state psychiatrists have penned a letter warning the mental health system is facing collapse.
When you've got 16 psychiatrists calling for an independent inquiry into the statewide mental health system, we know that something's wrong.
The Greens today released its plan to hire 50 school psychologists as well as extra staff, while the Blue team was again out unveiling an overhaul of ticketing on public transport.
An $81.5 million plan over 4 years, and it provides really our next steps to really put some pride and some esteem back into public transport.
Both leaders again sparred in a televised debate.
The clear plan that I laid out then is working. And we've got jobs back, our economy's growing.
So I ask this election that you give your number one vote to Labor, because that is the only way we're going to start solving the problems in our health system.
Expect a fierce fight in the desperate days ahead. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Police are investigating another gun crime in Launceston, this one late last night. Authorities allege 2 male offenders were trespassing at a property at Killafatty Road in St Leonards before firing a single shot into the air. No one was injured. Anyone with information is urged to contact police. There have been 462 reports of adverse reactions to coronavirus vaccines in Tasmania. The Therapeutic Goods Administration says 5 of those related to blood clots of AstraZeneca vaccinated people. But there have been no reports of suspected TTS, which is a newly identified syndrome of blood clots. The medical body says it carefully reviews possible blood clot cases in association with both vaccines. A man has been fined more than $700 for failing to comply with public health directions at Hobart Airport. Police say the 45-year-old who travelled from Melbourne on April 19 allegedly refused to complete the required e-travel documents, provided false details to biosecurity staff and refused to wear a mask. Well, a new designated Speaker's Corner has opened at Hobart's Salamanca Place. Council will undertake a 6-month trial of the space, which promotes public free speech.
They say this wind begins in Patagonia. We know better.
What we intend on doing is actually having a permit. The permit will be displayed at all times. We also will ensure that the speeches are within the framework and the gamut of the Anti-Discrimination Act.
The space will be available from Monday to Friday between 10 a.m. and midday.
Turning to local footy now, and the Cripps TSL Player of the Year votes after round 4 are in. North Launceston's Jay Foon was awarded 3 votes after his side's huge victory over Lauderdale. Elijah Reardon was judged best on ground for the Tigers, and it was hard to argue against Dylan Riley's 10-goal haul for Launceston. His Blues teammate Jake Hines leads the race with 6 votes.
Good evening, here we are, Monday again. Weekends are going by too quickly these days. The weather was okay though. Cressy, Launceston and St Helens out top with 21, Hobart and Devonport 20 and Burnie 19. Temperatures around or just below average. Friendly Beaches 20, Bushy Park 19, Grove 18, Flinders Island and Lowhead 17, King Island 16 and Strawn 15 degrees. Overcast skies today. Low clouds sat over the west and Bass Strait. Isolated cloud drifted elsewhere around Tasmania. A low pressure trough over Queensland has extensive cloud there over the far north and more cloud moves over southwestern WA. Tomorrow the high moves over Western Victoria, low pressure troughs over central Queensland and the far west of the nation. West to southwest winds 15 to 25 knots over the south and through Bass Strait, lighter winds elsewhere. Hobart 19 tomorrow are mostly sunny, same for Adventure Bay at 16 the high and 14 for Tarraleah. Launceston fine, partly cloudy, a top of 19, 18 for Devonport, partly cloudy for Bridport and 17. Burnie, partly cloudy as well, 18 the maximum, 16 for Strawn with a light shower, possible morning shower for Marrawar. And in the east tomorrow, partly cloudy for St Helens and 18, 19 for Swansea, White Mark 17. On Wednesday, a shower over the west and far south, reaching the southeast in the afternoon and evening. Possible showers on Thursday, not much for the northeast though, winds becoming light and variable. And on Friday, fine and partly cloudy after morning inland fog. Partly cloudy in Perth, 27 there tomorrow. Adelaide, sunny. A cool day in Melbourne, a top of 17 degrees. A morning shower there, a hazy 23 for Sydney and sunny weather for Brisbane. Partly cloudy but fine, 16 in Hobart, 13 and clear in Launceston, 12 right now in Devonport. A wonderful evening out there at the moment, Kim, due to our April full moon. In astronomical circles, it's regarded as the super pink moon. It's out there tonight and it's spectacular.
I like it. Looking forward to seeing it. Thanks very much, Murph. And that is all your news for now. We'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.